Thank you, Matt. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to our worship service at Central Unitarian Church. My name is Susan Gempler, your worship associate for today, and a member of the Leadership Development Committee, which is sponsoring this morning's service. We hope you will leave today's service inspired by the speakers who will tell you about their experiences and involvement with our CUC congregation. CUC is an inclusive community of all ages, which embraces diversity in identity, expression, and spiritual beliefs. We gather together each Sunday in worship to find inspiration, hope, and renewal among this community of like-hearted individuals. If you are visiting us today in person, be sure to say hello to one of our welcome hosts. Actually, we have quite a few here today. There's Carol, Denise, Joan, and Elizabeth. Raise your hands.
And Jamal.
And Jamal. If you are visiting us online, please be sure to click the link provided in the chat and sign our guest books by providing us with your name and your contact information. And we invite everyone to stay after service for coffee and conversation and nibbles and connection in this very same space. As we prepare to begin our service this morning, we ask those in person to please silence your devices. I have to turn off my granddaughter's ring because it's really loud and raucous. So it's to alert me that she's calling. I have two announcements this morning. The pastoral care team will host a special Valentine's Day pizza. It's a lunch at noon on Wednesday, February 5th, right here at the clubhouse. Tomorrow is January 27th. The Caregivers Support Group will meet here at 12:30 p.m. And that's all I have for announcements this week. So let us now formally begin our gathering. Please turn to a person near you and offer them a very warm welcome.
One way over. Yeah, I will tell you.
Okay. Well, I didn't even have to ring the bell this time. Now let us sing together our opening hymn, number 346. Oh, excuse me. Our welcoming reading today is called Community is the Spirit, something we're talking about in today's service. Community is the spirit, the guiding light of the tribe, whereby people come together in order to fulfill a specific purpose, to help others fulfill their purpose, and to take care of one another. Now let us stand or sit and sing our opening hymn, number 346, Come Sing a Song with Me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter Now it's time to light our chalice. Stewart, could you help me out and light the chalice?
Oh, sure.
Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words, which are based on CUC's vision statement. We light this chalice to remind us of our dreams, to nourish our heart, mind, and spirit, to work towards a better world for all, to embrace the whole of our human experience, to honor our past and our gifts of the present, to create a community where each of us may find healing, transformation, and hope. It's not.
I wondered the same thing. Oh, it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to do a reading from Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. And remember, the theme is Community is a Spirit. This is what you shall do. Love the earth and sun and the animals, despite riches. Give alms to everyone that asks. Stand up for the stupid and crazy. Devote your income and labor to others. Hate tyrants. Argue not concerning God. Have patience and indulgence toward the people. Take off your hat to nothing known or unknown, or to any man or number of men. Go freely with powerful, uneducated persons, and with the young and with the mothers of families. Read these leaves in the open air every season of every year of your life. Re-examine all you have been told at school or church or in any book. Dismiss whatever insults your own soul, and your very flesh shall be a great poem and have the richest fluency, not only in its words, but in the silent lines of its lips and face, and between the lashes of your eyes, and in every motion and joint of your body.
Thank you, Pam. We are not alone. Our lives are built on shared commitments, giving and receiving together. Our congregation serves as a place where we intentionally practice this shared living, interdependence in a culture that overemphasizes independence. One of the ways we practice our interdependence is through our congregation's finances, which depend on the generous contributions of members and friends. We pause each week to recognize this particular form of sharing, each of us giving what we can to support the mission and the vision of Central Unitarian Church. Your financial contributions helps each and every one of us to grow and to serve, and most importantly, to live lives centered on love. Our offering will now be gratefully received. Please join me in saying our dedication words based on CUC's mission statement. We dedicate these gifts in service of our mission to welcome all into a home of spiritual diversity that challenges us to become our best selves, to minister to one another in love, and to serve the greater community. Now we enter into a time of meditation, taking a moment to share our joys and our sorrows. We do this each week as a way of caring for each other. We invite you to share the joys and sorrows you hold in your heart today. If you are online, take the time now by typing into the chat feature. Those of you here in person may have already lit a candle and submitted a joy or sorrow, which I will read first. We will also offer a moment for those here to share out loud the names of those people that you're holding in your heart today. So let us quiet ourselves in order to enter the holy space of listening, breathing in a breath of life and breathing out a breath of peace. May we hold these joys and all these sorrows, both spoken and unspoken, in our hearts while we enter into a moment of silence. Blessed be. Now let us sing together, and you remain seated, our hymn, Spirit of Life, which is number 123, 123. I put the wrong number in the program. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice, roots holy flows, winds set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Stewart is going to introduce the first two speakers.
We have extra copies just in case. Hi, my name's Stu Kautsch. I'm co-chair of the Leadership Development Team. I've been around for about 10 years and doing choir, religious education, lots of spring fling, and stuff like that. So who are we? We began our life as the nominating committee, and our original mission, and what's still our core mission, is to ensure that there is at least one nominee at the annual meeting for any vacancies on the constitutional committees, which is the board, our own committee, and the Endowment Trust Fund. Mission creep over the years has led to our changing our name to the Leadership Development Team, and we have other duties such as conducting exit interviews with people who have left one of the committees, checking up on new committee members, making sure that they're okay, We do this service every year, and then we start working on the nominations for the annual meeting, and then, of course, we have to write part of the annual report. Our members right now are Sally Keene, who is in one of the Carolinas, I can never remember which, and Pam Zeldin, who did a reading earlier. Susan and I are the co-chairs. What's it like on our committee? Well, we do a Zoom once a month, and then the year just has its own calendar. We generally conduct our exit interviews in the fall. We start preparing the service then, and we do the service. And then, as I said, we'll start working on recruitment. The status this year is that we have a rather light load for the board. We believe we will have to replace just one person who's reached his term limit. And but we have 2 members leaving LDT, us. And but next year is going to be very heavy load. There's going to be a lot of falling off the table on the board. And so for that reason, we would like to recruit heavily for the leadership development team. I don't want to put a limit on that. A couple slots we really need to fill would be somebody who loves being on computers and, you know, writing minutes and taking care of we have a network share with the congregation, and a lot of janitorial work needs to be done on that. And also someone who will just keep track of the committee, sometimes known as the chair, who call meetings, have you know, the agendas, et cetera, et cetera. We also want to staff up in order to get a large cross-section of personal contacts. By that I mean that ideally the members of the leadership development should among them be acquainted with just about everybody in the congregation. That would be the ideal position. We have not always had that. So sure, we would like to talk to you. You can talk to me after the service, you can talk to Susan, you can talk to Pam, and we would like to know how you feel about being on one of the constitutional committees, keeping in mind that our spiritual ancestors at some point agreed that these committees are the way we will govern ourselves, so they're pretty important. Other committees. No, okay, there's one other thing I wanted to get. When I first started attending CUC, this service every year consisted of speakers in the front who would talk about their experiences volunteering, and then in the back we would have tables from committees that wanted to reach out. For instance, maybe religious education, spring fling, membership committee, whoever. They had tables in the back. And this just hasn't worked out the last 5 years because of the epidemic and because of the space. But we're hoping that we can go back to that when the new building is ready. And because of that, we're being quite upfront about the composition of this, the speakers today. So I'm representing the constitutional committees. You should join them. We're going to hear from Amy Usatine. She's going to tell us about her experiences growing up in CUC in the RE. We're hoping that when we move into the new building, suddenly we're going to find ourselves having to recruit, you know, instructors and adults. And then Robin Cannata is going to talk about his experiences with Spring Fling, telling you just how much fun it is to be on that committee. And again, looking forward, when we go to the new building, the Spring Fling might become even a bigger deal. And so it'd be good for people to have some experience under their belt before that. And then we're going to hear from David Kraft, who's just done lots of different volunteering, and he's going to encourage you to do that too. We have other committees here, and committees that are important and that need to be mentioned. The choir is always recruiting, and Susan Springstead is our matron. She's here. You can ask her questions. We are in the choir, and you can ask us too. Women's Alliance, if you have questions about Women's Alliance, please see Karen Clemens. And then also, we have several representatives from the membership committee. Can you raise your hands? Okay, well, certainly the hosts, certainly Elizabeth Stewart, and so you can see that. I'm going to ask Amy to introduce herself. I think most of the people in the congregation probably know Amy, and so that's it.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So thank you, Stu, for that introduction. My name is Amy Usatine, and I have completed each stage of RE here at CUC and participated in the trip to Prague. As I look around, I see my family, my teachers, and other members who have contributed to my rich UU education thus far. To all of you, I say thank you. I am not being hyperbolic when I say that religious education has impacted every aspect of my life. As I reflect on building bridges, OWL, and coming of age, I am reminded of just how unique the experiences of a UU youth are. As a result of OWL, I have become a more informed, conscientious, and empathetic individual. Our conversations regarding sexuality, consent, and emotional maturity equipped me with the tools that I use daily, both to inform the choices that I make and to be a sounding board for my friends who have not been able to have the same open conversations about physicality as I have. My OWL class was a safe space, nurtured by adults that my class trusted and reliable information. At first, I struggled with explaining to my peers at school how a sex ed class could possibly take place in my religious home. However, the contents of the class helped me to realize that it is not only about sex, but rather about humanity and how we can connect with one another in all capacities. When COVID hit in the middle of OWL, its effects were immediate and permanent. We lost a handful of youth as the classes went virtual, and the privacy rules were hard to abide by when the UUA required that more than one adult always be present on our Zoom calls. This Zoom RE structure continued into my coming-of-age year, which required innovation and flexibility. Students had to share mentors from CUC to discuss their credo statements, which was an adjustment from previous years where students were able to meet one-on-one and in person with their chosen mentors. And yet, with the help of our teachers, coming of age sparked a new period of personal growth within me. I was both intimidated, excited, and angered by life's big questions, which I could barely attempt to answer. Coming of age required me to think and reflect on the lessons that I had learned throughout building bridges and OWL. To write my credo, I thought back to our visits with building bridges to various places of worship. What beliefs from other religions did I resonate with? Which religious communities made me feel whole? And what does it really mean to be a human who explores humane connections? My credo statement from that year is something I hold very close to my heart. It serves as a snapshot of who I was, what I believed in, and what relationships I held with the divine. Presently, I am a member of the CUC youth group. Our trip to Prague was made possible by our generous chaperones and, of course, Joseph Mahak, who fostered our relationship in the Czech Republic. I am very hopeful that my younger brother and the newest members of the youth group will have the same opportunity as I did to go abroad and feel the universalist perspective of our faith. Throughout my years in religious education classes, the gracious members of CUC touched my heart and my mind. I remind my parents often of just how grateful I am that they brought me to church all these Sundays, even when I could not fully appreciate the relevance of these teachings in my life. I'd like to conclude my reflection with a poem from the UUA titled, "Many of the Past Generation and Many of Today." Many of the past generation and many of today have found three abiding values in prayer: the quiet meditation on life, the reaching out toward the universal and the infinite, and the courageous facing of one's profoundest wishes. Let parents sense and share with their children the glory and mystery of everyday things. Let them look with sympathy upon humanity's age-long dilemmas. Let no questions be taboo. The next generation can ill afford to have the deeper values deleted from the book of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Reading in between our speakers today is called Why Community by Pamela Rumansek. Why community? To remember that one is not a whole number, that we need most roots and wings, that strength comes from relationship and mutuality, that we know life in and through one another. Now we have Robin is going to come up here, and then David Kraft, and the Dolores Connors is going to speak, and she's representing the Committee on Shared Ministry. So Robin, would you come up first, please? Thank you.
First of all, thanks, Amy. I have to follow you, so this is not going to be easy. I'm here to talk about Spring Fling and why it's going to be the best thing to volunteer for. But first of all, I want to talk a little bit about Spring Fling, and then I'll talk about the volunteer part. First of all, the Spring Fling this year will be April 19th to the 26th on Zoom again. Hopefully, next year, if God willing and the creek don't rise, we'll be live at our new home, which needs a lot more volunteers. So this is a good time to start getting involved so we can hit the ground running. Also, it's kind of interesting. Our theme this year is Blue Boat Home because hopefully we'll be in our new home. And it's one of the, I think it's our last hymn we're singing today. So it wasn't planned, but that's kind of nice. All right. First of all, just a little bit of history. Actually, Brooke and I are co-chairing Spring Fling this year, and it's kind of, talk about what goes around comes around. We were chairing, about 30 years ago. One of our first jobs we had here as volunteers was to co-chair Spring Fling. I think it's probably over 30 years, so here we are again. Well, first of all, there's really two main reasons for Spring Fling, I think. Number one, it's our biggest fundraiser. All the money we raise from Spring Fling goes to our operating budget. But just as important, actually I think even more important, is a chance to help us build community. To me, Brooke and I have made lifelong friends, either hosting a Spring Fling event or going to Spring Fling events and volunteering on the Spring Fling committee. We get to know each other here somewhat, but when you go to like a dinner at someone's home or a hike or something like that, you really get to know somebody a lot better. And it really brings us together. And I think that's probably as important, if not more important, than the actual money we raise. And just a little bit about what some of the items we do. First of all, there's stuff for everyone's pocketbook. I mean, some of the dinners we bid on can go for quite a lot of money. We get bid out quite often, Brooke and I. But also we have some items that are set priced. There's no bidding involved, you just sign up for them. For instance, Brooke and I do, I guess probably the last 20 years, we've been doing a 4th of July barbecue. And I think we charge like 20 a person and 40 a family. So, I mean, for a family, you can't go to McDonald's for $40. Some of the items that really go, first of all, our themed dinners, they go really well. People, that have ethnic dinners, they want to cook and things like that, they sell really well. Gift cards, restaurant gift cards go good. If you want to lead a hike or a visit to a museum, things like that, always bring in, good money, plus it gives everyone a chance to really get to know each other better. Now, back to the volunteer part, which is, I think, the reason I've been asked to speak today. One of the things that's really good about being on the Spring Fling Committee, it's not a 12-month commitment. I mean, some people would like to do things, but they don't want to be involved in a committee for, say, 12 months or be on the board for 3 years. we were really active for a couple of months. And this coming up next year, hopefully, when we're live, we'll need more volunteers because we have to provide food, beverages. Joseph usually has his beer, decorations, things like that. So what's nice now, if someone is willing to want to be part of our committee, is you get to know the rope, so to speak, but also you'll be ready to really get going next year when we're back live, I'm hoping. So again, if you do have any questions about, spring fling in general, but wanting to talk about maybe volunteering, please talk to Brooke and I. Anyone else here from the committee want to stand up? You know, all right. Just talk to any one of us. It's a fun committee, and I urge you all to at least look into participating. Thanks.
David Kraft. Here.
Morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm David Kraft, and I can't see far, so I won't be able to see back there, but I need to read up here too, so I gotta take these off. Getting old stinks, right? So I'm here to talk today, hopefully to give you some inspiration about volunteering. The arc of the moral universe is long, and it bends towards justice. Who bends it? Thank you. Yes, yes. It does sound familiar. Thank you all. You must have been here on the 17th. If you were here or online listening to the sermon from Reverend Dr. Anthony P. Johnson on November 17th, then you'll likely remember this inspiring speech. I certainly do. In some ways, it was a history lesson. In other ways, it was a cry for help. I sat in these seats and lapped up the hopeful message that we so desperately needed after our election results. So as I listened to the sermon from Dr. Johnson, I believed that history would be on our side as we approached another 4 years of possible, let's face it, probable setbacks. I felt ready to hear him offer a set of instructions on how and where, but there weren't any. Don't get me wrong, Dr. Johnson gave me hope, made me feel connected to a larger mission, but what now? How could I help bend that arc myself? I just felt something was missing. Since that time, I've ruminated on those words a lot. Then it hit me. Participation in our communities, our church, cannot be something we're just involved in. The focus needs to shift from passion to action. And by turning our passion into action, we will bend that arc of the moral universe. But how do I start? How can I make an impact? And how do I leave a world better than how I found it? Looking for inspiration, I thought about examples here at CUC. And I didn't have to think hard to recognize examples of this passion that I wanted to emulate. At some point, Brooke and Robin had an idea about supporting local charities, and they turned that passion into action. We all know it, the outreach auction. Today, that annual event raises thousands of dollars every year to further bend that moral arc. I thought about Joseph and Michael and Amory volunteering to chaperone the religious retreat to Prague and the impact and experience that it has on my son, Quinlan, and Amy mentioned it too, and the other RE students as they embark on their educational pursuits in their adult lives. I thought about Betty Buffington and her lifetime of dedication to our religious community. The lives she has touched and her service to others is immeasurable. And I thought about John and Phil coming every week to help support the service being run. When things go seamlessly here at CUC, we know we have them to thank. Impact is the answer. And when I looked around my volunteer time from this perspective, I knew I had to do something different. Currently, I dedicate my volunteer time to 3 organizations in our community. The River Edge Environmental Protection, the EPC, our Venture Scouts, Troop 138 in Paramus, and right here at CUC. You all may not know that I am currently the co-chair of our environmental group in our hometown of River Edge. I've been involved in the organization for a few years because I do care about the environment, and I do want to do what I can help. But in thinking about how I have turned that passion into action, I couldn't really come up with anything tangible I had done. Sure, I participated in a lot of different events. We do a styrofoam collection, paper shredding, second chance toys, and many other events throughout the year. But I sensed I was going with the flow. I now had this burning desire to do more. So in the spirit of bending that moral arc, I'm focused this year on a new project that will help support our town community. The effort is called Skip the Stuff, and statewide push to keep the to-go extras such as ketchup packets, single-use plasticware, napkins, and other unnecessary food items out of every order unless they're requested. Automatically putting these items in every to-go order creates tremendous amount of waste for items that most people don't even use. You probably have a bunch of ketchup packets in your fridge now. The plan is to work with local restaurant owners to understand the goal and help them recognize in the long run it will save them money as well. But it's going to take significant changes to their to-go ordering process. If all goes well in River Edge, I'd really like to bring this to Westwood through CUC. Also, Boy Scouts of America, now called Scouting America, is an organization our family's been a part of for around 10 years. Though not a place I would ever envision myself to be a part of, I don't like camping. My children have grown tremendously in this service-focused environment. I am proud of the support their events as best I can and help represent a positive adult guide for our youth. Finally, and most obviously, I volunteer my other free time here at CUC. I've been a part of the Endowment Trust Fund, one of those constitutional committees that Stu mentioned before you might want to think about. I've been a part of that for many years, and our family helps run the February food drive, which, side plug by the way, starts next week. We've done this for a few years, but Liz and I were thinking about how could we do more to help with the regular services. So this year, we've decided to, along with the February food drive, we will be hosting coffee hour for the month of February, although somebody stole a week from us already, but that's all right. While this effort may not bend the arc very far, I do think it will help set the stage for the next great idea, the next passion, maybe your passion. I'll leave you with this final thought. Last week, I read an article by the outgoing Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, urging Americans to rethink how we are living our lives. He says, and I'll quote, "After years of reflecting on stories I've heard, delving into scientific data, and convening researchers, I've come to see there are 3 essential elements that fuel our fulfillment and well-being: relationships, service, and purpose. Relationships keep us grounded and bonded to each other. Service, from formal volunteering to informal small acts of kindness, is about helping each other. And purpose gives our lives a sense of direction and meaning. Together, these elements form the triad of fulfillment." The article ends with this: "Like most people, I sometimes find myself worried whether I'm achieving enough. In those moments, I think about the patients I cared for at the end of their lives. I think about what they shared with me and what made for a fulfilling life. It was never the size of their bank accounts, the number of their followers, or the list of accomplishments. It's always been about the people they loved, the people they served, the people whose lives they touched. In the end, when only the most meaningful strands of life remain, this is what matters. So I ask you, what is your passion? Maybe you can fulfill it with a leadership position here at CUC. The arc of the moral universe is waiting to find out."
Thank you. And now Dolores. Wow. That's a lot.
Tough acts to follow.
That's right. So I am happily here to serve as president of the Board of Trustees. I will be speaking about a particular committee, but I'd like to start by saying thank you to all of the committees. And I'll get back to that in just a second. What a week. What a month. You know, this week I had a chance to, and maybe you did as well, hear a sermon, or maybe an excerpt of a sermon. And the sermon was meaningful, it was thoughtful, it was inspiring, and it was important. And I'm glad that I had a chance to hear it. When I turned it off, it actually made me a little sad, because it made me think of Reverend Andre and her not being here right now. You know, see, the minister had a similar way of expressing herself that reminded me of the mannerism that Reverend Andre brings to us when she shares her sermon. So the connection was very strong, and I began to think again just how important a sermon is to a congregation. It is extremely important. And then I stepped back, and I said, it is. But what draws us here today, knowing that our minister is not present, knowing that in the past for over 100 years as this church has been going on, that ministers have come and gone for whatever reason, that a congregation shows up because they understand that ministry is shared. It is shared between all of us, and that's what could bring us here today. So as you heard from so many wonderful committees that exist that allow us to sit in this space, regardless of how old we are, young we are, and get something meaningful from it, is important. So with that, I'd like to speak on one specific ministry, and that is the Committee of Shared Ministry. So I'm going to ask if Jeff Feinstein is here, Susan Springstead, Michael Patrick, Becky Bruce, and Patricia Joseph, if you're here, can you stand? And Susan Springstead, thank you. Who is that? Thank you, Susan. All right, so this group of people volunteered to come together. And I have to say this, it wasn't just by chance. Under the leadership of our former president, who I will name our CEO, unofficially is what I call her, Brooke, who created and brought to the Board of Trustees, we wanted to know and understand a study of how we could be effective as members. So this committee was put together, and evaluations were done, and they collected data. They were charged with understanding how we come together with specific important tasks and responsibilities, and how we could sustain ourselves to make sure that our work was lasting and meaningful. Now, if you know anything about data, you know just how important it is because it comes with a responsibility. We are grateful that the data collected was collected out of concern, care, and love. But the responsibility of that data lies on us. So the board now has the responsibility of honoring the recommendations that were presented by that committee. Now, I won't take you through our entire part of our board meeting, which is coming up, but I will tell you that the board is working very hard to honor these recommendations and think about how we can become a stronger community. Because regardless of who provides a beautiful, wonderful, fulfilling, thoughtful sermon, it is us who show up and make this space very special. So to the shared ministry committee, and to all the committees. And I'd actually like, if you've ever been on a committee, I'd like you to stand. Stand, that's right. If you're thinking about being on a committee, I'd like you to stand. And if you can't stand, but you're thinking about it in the soft space of your head, you can sit, and we just like to give you a round of applause. So clap for yourselves and clap for others. And with that, I say, I feel good about this place. And the best part is we get to feel better. Right now, I'm going to call up Brooke, our unofficial CEO of this place. And we have some good news to share. Thank you.
Good morning. I would introduce myself, but I think that's been done enough this morning. Currently, I am serving as the past president. I wouldn't call myself the CEO. I think the CEO is right there. And a proud member of the Women's Alliance. So the announcement that I have this morning is that I'm very pleased to announce that the Women's Alliance has overwhelmingly voted to approve the board and the design team's request for funding for two very important areas of our new space. Their generous donation of over $195,000 will fund our religious education section. That's 3 classrooms and an office for Allie. And our community room where coffee hour will be hosted, very important. So please join me in thanking them for their support to CSC. And I also want to remind us all that just a few short weeks ago, the Endowment Trust Fund approved we approved their generous donation to fund the exterior work on our building, which we're hoping will be starting as soon as the weather lets us. And we're just so very grateful for the support of all of our partners here at CUC. It's just such a pivotal time in our history, and I'm grateful for all of you for your support of me and the design team. It's just been a wonderful thing. And it reminds me of a line from one of our favorite hymns, "We are one strong body." Thanks.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, speakers. It was beautiful. So let us now sing one of our very favorite hymns, Blue Boat Home. It's 1064. Though I know me, I feel the motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. Wide universe is the ocean I've traveled, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leading on Please join me in saying our chalice extinguishing words based on CUC's covenant. We extinguish this chalice flame, but not our promise to each other, to act with grace, to hold each other in love, to serve this community and our world. This promise of the heart serves as a reminder of how we live together. May it bring joy to our collective lives. Community is the spirit, the guiding light of the tribe whereby people come together in order to fulfill a specific purpose, to help others fulfill their purpose, and to take care of one another. Thank you, everyone who made this service possible, our speakers and Phil and John, Matt, and the hosts and the greeters. And let's go have some coffee.
Come in.